Moving out of my parents' house changed everything for me. Not just where I lived, but how I thought, how I worked, how I made money. Everyone talks about, yeah, you get your own place, so you get your own freedom. But not everyone talks about how much pressure you have. And that pressure changed my life. In this video, I'll show you how moving out will benefit you and how it benefited me in staying more focused, making more money, and getting me closer to my goals, not just financially, but also physically and spiritually as well. When I lived at home, like back in college, no bills, I had no rent, and I had no urgency. I had time, but I didn't have that pressure in just making more money. But when I moved out, that kind of comfort, that kind of laziness, as you say, it disappeared. You have an empty fridge, so you have to work to get the food. You have empty boxes, you have an empty, unfurnished house, so you have to work to get the furniture, to get the bed. And every mistake, that I've ever made hit my bank account. It reflected it in my finances, and I've learned and grown from those mistakes. I'm gonna go into the first point of that pressure has actually made me more money. And I'll show you how. Before moving out, I was making $20 roughly an hour from some part-time job working as a videographer/editor for a videography firm. I was making way more on my junior year, making $25 an hour, which was the most I've ever made in my life. But I was comfortable with $20 an hour. I didn't have rent, I didn't have bills. I lived at my parents' house and I was still in college, so that's okay. But then I realized, that wasn't enough. And once I moved out and got my full-time job offer, I made way more money, even beyond that initial job offer that was initially set after moving out. The fear of me getting kicked out and evicted followed through in my first couple months. I started treating every hour seriously, and if I didn't spend that hour at least not working, I felt like I was a failure. So I started to learn new skills, start to pursue a line of business, and I applied to, better jobs, eventually got myself a promotion and worked harder and harder each and every day. And because I had a sense of urgency. So when this urgency came up, I went from making $20 an hour to making 80 grand a year, which is good, to making over 6 figures a year, which is really good when it comes to, my age. I'm 22 right now. But then having that money, it also taught me money management as well. In college, I knew how to manage my money well. I had a strong baseline for that. However, I didn't put it into application when considering rent, car payments. At the time before last year, I still had car payments that I need to make. Now I fully paid off the car, so we're good there. So when I started to pay my own bills and started eating out way more, I overpaid, right? I started using credit cards, which is no bueno. When it comes to overpaying on my bills, my card utilization rate went up, which is no bueno. And there were other costs as well, such as furniture, utilities. That's a big thing as well. And other emergency stuff that I needed to pay, that stacked up. So I realized, okay, I need to adjust my budget so that I could compensate and expect unexpected emergencies. Now, with this year, I've built myself back up, and if not exceeded that. I went from having a 4-figure net worth to having over multiple 5 figures in net worth in just a couple of months. So that's not just luck, right? That's literally just structure and how you could manage your money so that you're stress-free and living more of a comfortable life, so that you could focus your time and less of that stress on paying for the next rent and focus more of that into developing your skills so that you could increase your income. And invest more, not only into just the regular ETF stock market, but into yourself. Third thing, that urgency actually had me have a structure in terms of what I should do hour by hour. You can't afford to waste these days, especially when you're young. I hear a lot of talk around young people, or people saying, oh, you're young, you should just relax. No, that's actually quite the opposite. You should actually work hard, because when you're young, when you're in your 20s, that decade of your life, that's when you will have the most energy, in which you should use that energy to pursue your goals, your careers, so that you can live more of a comfortable life in your 30s and 40s, setting that foundation for the rest of your life. So every hour matters. You can't just finish your 9 to 5 and then go home and jerk off and watch porn. You gotta actually start living your life and developing your skills after your 9 to 5. From 9 to 5, you have that 8 hours, and then from 5 to 10, you have that time to, yes, go to the gym, eat, take a shit, but then after that, use those hours to develop a skill so that you can be more valuable in the current market. Whether that skill is editing, videography, digital marketing, or any of those things that will help you be more valuable for you, for the market. Say no to like distractions of like partying, clubbing, drinking, and start saying yes to having the potential to invest into yourself. If you treat your time like currency, you will build wealth much faster. And lastly, just to touch up, that kind of urgency and that kind of independence built my confidence. You're paying your own rent, you're paying your own bills. Not only that, you're saving. You have an access fund in which you're saving. Your needs are way below your means, and then you could take that other percent and invest it into yourself, whether it be a savings account. So you have that confidence in saying, yes, I could definitely take care of myself and more. I could pay for myself on dates. You have that confidence now to say, I could take care of myself. I don't need my parents. I don't need anyone else to rely on. Only myself. And plus, when you bring chicks over, you don't want your parents being there. So you gotta have, your own place, right? So to do whatever, you want. Of course, safely. What I'm gonna say is moving out, it's not gonna be easy. You still have to have a set fund in mind to save up to move out. I would suggest 3 to 5 times the rent you should have saved up and allocated towards that so that you could consider those expenses of moving out. But if you have that savings and you make income that makes sense for your monthly payments, is the best thing that's happened to me ever in my life, moving out of my parents' house. It forced me to grow, earn more money, learn how to manage my time, and learn how to respect my time. But do it with purpose, because once you live on your own, you'll never think or live the same way ever again. More people will start respecting you because of that. So if you like more content like this, or need a full guide on how to budget so that you have the necessary funds to move out on your own, check out this channel. It has lots of content on that. And take care, guys. Peace.